That being said, we'll move on to meeting number 2, Warehouse Street, zoning bylaw amendment. I'll call this second meeting to order and advise the public of the following: that a second public meeting is required by the Planning Act to afford any person an opportunity to make representation with respect to the proposed zoning bylaw amendment to permit a residential development consisting of 12 lots with an associated stormwater block on lands located on the north side of Warehouse Street between Fairview Avenue and Park Avenue. I'm going to introduce our senior planner, Kevin McClure, who will provide background information on their proposal and present the draft bylaw. Please, Kevin.
Thank you, Your Worship. Thank you. This is a public meeting to present the draft zoning bylaw amendment for Warehouse Street. So as can be seen on the screen, the subject lands are on the north side of Warehouse Street, west of Fairview Avenue, and east of the unopened road allowance of Park Ave. As you can also see, it's south of Briarwood in the Carpet One buildings and north of a number of residential dwellings. So to give you some context, as you can see on the screen, I guess the pictures across the top there are looking down from the parking lot of Briarwood, going from east to west. The other, I guess, photos there too are showing just at the in corners of the property, looking to the north, currently vacant. It's again, the old railway corridor. And then similarly to along the top, looking up at the kind of vacant corridor, looking north, and then the generally single story and 1.5 story buildings to the residential dwellings to the south. Well, not subject to this specific application. It's an associated, or the public meeting, sorry. The zoning bylaw amendment is to facilitate an associated draft plan of subdivision. So as you can see on the screen, this is what was submitted as proposed. So you do have 4 semi-detached lots for 10 units and 7 fourplex lots, which are going to be proposing obviously 28 units for a 38-unit proposal. A stormwater block is provided in the back of those dwellings, and is kind of noted on the concept plan that was associated with that. This is kind of the general configuration that is shown. As you note, their portion of the stormwater block is proposed on adjacent properties, and one of the proposed accesses, specifically lot 12, is off the unopened road allowance. As you'll recall through my staff report, there are some technical issues that I had raised through that process that still need to be resolved. We are working with the applicant on addressing those concerns. Staff at Environmental Services and myself did go out to the site last week as well. I know the applicants are in attendance and online if they have specific questions about some of what is being proposed. That being said, the lands are designated residential within the official plan, and the lands are currently zoned residential development zone R7 in the City of St. Thomas zoning bylaw. The R7 zone is historically been kind of a holding zone, essentially recognizes what the existing uses, the date of passing of the bylaw are, and allow for agricultural use. But with that, as we'll kind of see in the site specifics, this kind of gives you the overview of what's being proposed. The property itself is going to be subject to 3 site-specific zoning bylaws amendments. One being essentially specific, as you can see, the minimum lot area for the 4-unit lots. Lot area, I mean, it's a very slight deficiency for the R3. The multiples allows for 740 square meters, while what they're requesting is 739 square meters. The other aspects would be minimum lot frontage. Again, the multiple, which we'll get into, which is kind of getting into the additional permitted uses. It's more of a definition thing, proposing based on what they're proposing. But the minimum lot frontage for a multiple dwelling, which would allow for the 4 units, would now currently require 21-meter frontage. What they're asking for would be a 17.97. And then the semi-detached currently requires a 10-meter lot frontage per lot. And what they're requesting through this application is 18.95. The other reduction would be in the interior side yard, which for 4-unit lots or the multiples that this would be most associated with, it requires a 2-meter lot front interior side lot, where they're requesting is 1.2. And then given the fact that the units that they're proposing doesn't fit with the multiple definitions similar to Michelle, we're going to be introducing or looking to introduce other definitions that have been used elsewhere in the city, specifically for back-to-back towns, stacked towns, and back-to-back stacked. The nature of the units that are being proposed, again, they're only going to be limited to 4 units on the proposal on the lots, but deals with the building orientation and configuration of the units. So when they come to go forward and get building permits, they don't have issues there. And then there was holding provisions required as part of this. And again, this is through what they have requested is provisions specifically to lot 12. Their provisions for the holding were with respect to, and I'll go back to the previous slide just for ease. Given the fact that the stormwater management pond is behind the units and the Park Avenue is a privately owned parcel of land, in order to facilitate or allow for the municipality to access the property to do its work, part of the holding provisions would be to essentially not lift that until such time that Park Avenue was opened, and to allow for the city to cross over lot 12 to access the stormwater management pond. As noted in my report, that's a bit of a concern for from a planning perspective, because that would essentially be dealing with the city crossing private property in order to address municipal infrastructure. So again, that's one of the technical things that we're still kind of working out through the process. This brings us to the amendment itself. And again, so part one of the amendment is introducing essentially the new section to the R3 zone. That's that kind of west, sort of easterly portion of the property that mainly deals with the semi-detached. So that's bringing forward a new map part to the bylaw, references the reduction in minimum lot frontage for the semi-detached units, and then provides an exception to the general provisions of the bylaw, which were the 10 meters that I referenced earlier. So this is just more of a close-up version of of what the specific zones are going to be. So the R3-18 is what we kind of went over, and then the R3-19 and the HR3-20 that follows are very much the same. The only difference being that the HR3-120 provides that holding provision to deal with some of the access issues, and to address some of the environmental that was also noted, because this being a railway corridor, there has been environmental site assessment for stage 1 and stage 2, but there's some additional works that need to be undertaken as well. So this again brings into essentially just outlines that the new R3-119 is going to add those additional permitted uses to that area of the zone. Covers the reduction in the lot area and the lot frontage, provides for that 1.2 meter interior side yard, and then defines what those are. Again, this is a carryover that's been done elsewhere in the municipality to address those site-specific building forms. And then again, it's kind of falling within the general provisions of the multiple dwelling units provisions in the R3 zone. So essentially, this notes that it's all of those categories within the R3 for the multiples would apply to this, save and except the reductions or changes that they're asking for through this process. And then the R3-20, again, that last unit goes through and provides all the exact same provisions, the reductions, the minimum frontage, the interior side lot, provides for the new building uses. Provides those same exceptions, and then ultimately provides the holding provisions, which deal with the access for the opening of Park Ave and the record of site condition. Again, these are what was requested through the proponent. Might need to follow up and tweak this a little bit based on what we come back with, or what they come back with once they've dealt with the stormwater, but we'll address that in a subsequent meeting. And then similar to once, essentially all of the amendments have been made to this property and the other parcels that are covered by this map part, we have the consolidated version that shows the area that's been rezoned through this process, along with the other zoning in the area. Happy to take questions if you have any.
I'll start off with, Madam Clerk, have we received any written submissions on the proposed changes?
Your worship, no written submissions for this application.
Great. Now I'll go to questions from Council of Kevin. Councillor Rymal.
Wanted to ask, so along the back of all the units, will there be some kind of fencing to protect from the stormwater management pond?
And I guess through you, Your Worship, over to Councillor Rymal. So as part of any sort of development agreements or that we can get into the fencing, it would be a city's block. So we would have the ability to put in some fencing in that on the property. As one of the questions that came up through the council report in the meeting, and I think you can leave it to some of my colleagues behind me. There is I guess a desire and the plan to put in a trail system through there as well. So as part of any sort of work that would deal with any of the publicly accessible trail that goes through and connects off to through Fairview in that as well. I think there'd be mechanisms to address that through that process.
Great. Go ahead, Councillor Rymal.
Just one more. So my main concern with this is the townhomes have a backyard, like they have backyard space, but the apartment, the 4 units, it looks like the driveway comes down the side and then there's parking at the back, but they have actually no green space.
Yes, and I guess unfortunately, I guess that's part of an issue or that with the zoning bylaws that's currently written. There are no landscape requirements as required through the zoning. It's something that we can definitely look at in the future. But with respect to the ability to provide or at least address it from a policy perspective as a medium density development. It does provide that you're in proximity to parks, trails, other amenity areas. So as part of, from a policy perspective, you have a new trail that's going to be coming through. You are close to adjacent commercial development to the north on Talbot Street. And there, I believe it's, I think June Rose Public School and that further to the south as well. So and the mall just down the road as well. So there are amenities within the vicinity of these that would meet I guess the policy requirements of the city.
Councillor Clark, then Councillor Gibson.
Thanks, Your Worship. I just need clarification on how the applicant's residents would get to the parking. My understanding is Park Ave, looking at the map there, they don't own the full width of the roadway there, and there's another owner of the land to the west, because we've talked in numerous times about the city wanting to, or some council members, I guess, wanting to put the roadway Park Ave through to Talbot Street, and we were told, well, we don't own the land, and we would have to purchase the land. So I'm just wondering, has the applicant worked out an easement with the landowner to the west?
Thank you, Your Worship. Through to Councillor Clark. That's part of the reason why they're providing or proposing a holding provision on lot 12 that's shown on the screen. Right now, they're showing that they would have access through park until that was actually to be established. The holding provision would limit or not permit development of that lot. The rest of the lots would be fronting onto and be accessible to Warehouse Street. So that was their, I guess, solution in order to address access to park and the current configuration that they're proposing through this was to put that holding provision in there so that development couldn't occur until that was open.
Okay. Councillor Gibson.
Thank you, Worship. I have 2 questions. First question, on the lots, on the the 5 parkings. It says 14.5. Is there a mandate where the distance for parking has to be 14.5? Could we bring the vehicles back by 7 feet or 7 meters, I should say, sorry, 7 meters? And then that way it would give them some green space in that area to use on each of those lots. So I'm going from lot, I think it is 7, 7 to 12. So I'm just wondering if we have a restriction from the building in the parking lot area that we could move them towards the building and then the green space beyond that, so that the green space is somewhat connected, hopefully with a trail that you were talking about. And the other question I was wondering, it's more of a Kevin question. Again, we're building in an area where the street is not well cared for. It's very, very narrow, very bumpy. And I'm just wondering if Kevin has an idea, when is this on the list? And is it part of what's happening on this private property can be included in the reconstruction of the street? Because again, we're looking at water distribution and our sewage going out that way. And I don't know how well and how old they are, but if that's any in alignment. Thank you.
Thank you. I can start with the parking. I mean, ultimately, there are parking stall dimensions within the zoning bylaw that they're required to meet. They haven't asked for any reductions in that. The drive aisle widths and things, that would be something that they would need to ensure that, you know, it's a functioning lot back there. Yes, true too, and that was part of the discussions through consultation process as different opportunities and designs for the parcel of land to accommodate the densities that they're looking at while still being able to provide more opportunities for landscaping, green space, minimizing access and those sorts of things. So those are things that staff did raise through the process. Ultimately, this is what the applicant has advanced. But with respect to that, they put forward a proposal that, as kind of went through the presentation, they didn't ask for any reductions for parking or the parking stall width in that. So from that, we can't really deal with it because it's an individual lot as well. We're not permitted to go through site plan because it's less than 10 units. So we're not able to regulate some of those things. So while I do agree, my preference would be to have more opportunities for landscaping as well. There's not much we can based on the existing zoning. I guess before I pass it off to Shane and or Kevin, as part of this proposal as well, the applicants were aware throughout the consultation process that the warehouse reconstruction, I believe, is in the works, and the hope is to have it, if this does go forward with that, to have it staged in timing with that, similar to the previous consultation public meeting as well, where you essentially the city doesn't really want to put in infrastructure to have it ripped up again. But from a timing perspective, I don't know if Shane, you wanted to speak to that.
Yeah, thank you. Through your worship to Councillor Gibson. As part of this development, the road will be reconstructed during that time frame. So we're working with the developer on that in terms of bringing it to a local level. So sidewalk, curbs, new asphalt. So that's the type of thing.
Great.
Thank you.
Councillor Baldwin-Sands.
Thank you. I find this proposal and the previous one a little bit poetic, and you can support me on this. Is back in 2008, we had an opportunity to buy the 88 acres going through, which this is partly of, as well as the other one that we were discussing the first time. And I was the only one at that time who stood up in council chambers to say, this is a good investment, especially for the residential that we can do in the future, most specifically on this portion of land. Two questions. The first one being, is this step one of further development that we can hope for in this area? I'm going to exclude the previous public meeting, but on this part of the public meeting, is this going to be further development that will be allowed from these old rail lands that sit in behind on Warehouse Street, Park Avenue, et cetera?
Thank you, Your Worship, through you to Councillor Baldwin-Sands. As part of the reason in the discussion as to, I guess, the stormwater block, some of the works that are going on behind, and as was noted in the my staff report, there were kind of letters of kind of expression of interest, or I can't remember the terminology they had used in the letters themselves. But ultimately, the reason why there's this pond is structured in the way it is that the city would like to have a regional pond to help facilitate further development along those lands to the west on Park Ave, to deal with some of the works and that have happened on Fairview as well. So that is part of the rationale, is to kind of get this infrastructure developed so that further development can occur. Also, I believe, and I think I'll let Shane kind of speak to that, getting outside of my purview here, sorry, but that's part of the reason why some of the discussions are being held right now.
I'll let Shane go first to correct Kev. No, go ahead. Shane.
No, he's good. He's stealing my thunder. Yes, no, as you mentioned, it's a regional pond, so the city would be looking after this afterwards. And noting the development on Sinclair, residential development, we want to make sure we only have one pond on either side of the lack of bridge now on Fairview. So this is going to include the Sinclair subdivision, Brywood, Elgin Carpet, and then Warehouse would all be going to this pond. So it's a regional approach to making sure that we have more development space and less pond size.
We have a question for him?
Well, it kind of brings back home the 88 acres for $1.8 million in 2008. 18 years later, we're starting to see the results of that. And I'm incredibly proud of city staff and the developer for bringing this forward. I will also note that it's very similar in design and intent to what we have already approved in the city along Elm Street. And if you would like to provide some comment on that, because that gives me how to put this from paper and put it on what's being done, what was done by Prespa on Elm Street, where the townhouses went in there in a tighter area. It just helps give mental perspective.
And yeah, I can't speak to the Elm Street proposal, but as we ultimately will see through and the growth pressures that we're seeing, a lot of more infill intensification projects on kind of underutilized sites and lands. We will start to see some more creative solutions to address some of that intensity in development. With that, and as we heard earlier on, I mean, there comes challenges. The official plan does kind of speak to how some of those challenges and how we can kind of manage that growth and development pressures and deal with the community and neighboring property interests. So yes, this is, I mean, one of many sites that I think that we'll start to see increased interest in throughout the city, and we'll probably start to see more of these types of projects in the future.
Follow up?
To be specific, it's what's been done on the south side of Elm, those townhouses that are there along old railroad tracks. And as I said, that gives a great, not to the south side where we're still looking at that, but this gives a good visual. And I thank you for that.
Great. Sorry, did I have anybody else with a comment? No, nothing else from council. Anyone on our participants list online? If you are online and wishing to make a comment, please use your raised hand icon. And if you have called into the meeting using a telephone, please dial *9, and your questions will be taken in the order they come in. I will alternate between whoever comes online or council for the next little bit. And as we move forward, please, if someone was to come online or there's anyone from the gallery that would also like to make a comment, please, first thing, give us your name and address when you start your comments. I see no one from the gallery. I see no one online with a raised hand icon. I see nothing but eager counselors, but no questions from them. And so I'll ask again, questions from council, questions from the gallery, questions online. One more chance. Anybody have anything upstairs, online, or from the council? And then I will say that in the opinion of the mayor, the public and the council has been given fair opportunity to express their views regarding the proposal. And everyone has been given a fair opportunity to express their views. If there are no further questions, please be advised that any person wishing further information on the actions of council regarding the passing of bylaws for the proposed amendment should email customer service at customerservice@stthomas.ca, indicating which public meeting they wish to be notified on and providing their name and address. Those who do not have an access to a computer and wish to be notified should call customer service at 519-631-1680, extension 0. Provide your name and address, and this public meeting is now concluded.